Hi, everybody. This is Jessica, the Enneagram Life Coach, and in this series of videos, we are going to be talking about how it is that people in relationship with you might get frustrated or annoyed or sad or nervous. So, in other words, a lot of times when I'm coaching, my clients will understandably have some complaints or some things to say about the people they are in close relationship with, and that's fine. That makes sense. That happens to all of us. But of course, when I'm on a coaching call, I'm only speaking to one half of the relationship, and it stands to reason that while it is 100% true that everybody that you are in a relationship with is difficult to be in a relationship with, that's true, like for sure. But what's also true is you're difficult to be in a relationship with, and I'm difficult to be in a relationship with, right? All humans are difficult. So, one of the things Enneagram helps us to see is, how am I difficult? If my friends and family and partner was on the phone with a coach, what would they be saying about me? And that's what this series is going to be about. So, I'm going to go through the 9 types, one type per video. We're going to start with type 1 today. And I'm not going to be easy on anybody. These are not going to be feel good videos. And I'm not necessarily going to say what the counter behavior would be, because you kind of know, right? We know. Once we point out these blind spots, the next step will be stop doing that, right? And catch yourself in the act of doing it. Now, remember, don't be super hard on yourself. Everybody screws up. Everybody's difficult in certain ways. We're going to point out ways that maybe you didn't know you were difficult, but everyone in relationship with you could probably agree with this. And, ask them. And it's not just partners. It's not just your romantic partner. This is how siblings might see you, and friends and coworkers and parents and family and anybody you know. Okay, so um, let's talk about type 1. They're perfectionists and they have a high moral standard, and they are mostly hard on themselves. That's true, right? Ones are very critical on themselves. And so, without noticing it, they can become what feels to other people like extremely critical of other people. And that's not wrong. They are critical. For people who are in a relationship with a type 1, it can feel like the one is always pointing out all of the things you're doing wrong, or maybe that you can never do anything right or to please them. So that's one thing that's hard in a relationship with a 1. Also, ones are anger types, and they are trying to be appropriate, but that resentment that they feel, they kind of always have this underlying resentment of all these people are acting this such and such way, and I don't do that. They're all doing this, and I don't do that. And there's a real tension there, and there's a real physical energy buildup, and you can even see it in their faces and in their bodies. And that will very often explode like a volcano at some point or at certain points, but it'll also be passive aggressive before it gets to full out volcano explosion eruption. So there's a lot of resentment that can come from the one towards the other people, but the other people can sense it. Even though the one is trying to keep a lid on it, it is noticeable. The third thing, I'm reading from some notes today, is, in the one's world, it can feel very much like a black and white world, a right way and a wrong way. And ones very much feel like they own the right way. And they're not trying to be, I mean, to a lot of other types, that seems uptight, and that's fair, but, they spend a lot of time trying to build their morals, or know why they do what they do, and they have their reasons. So what can happen is, because they are so rigid about their way of doing things, they can be totally closed off to your way of doing things. It's always got to be their way, or they're going to have that resentment buildup that we just spoke about. So part of the work for ones is to realize that they don't own the right way. There are more. Here's an even crazier one. There is more than one right way. Wow, that's a right? For ones, that's a crazy thought, but it's true. The way a 1 loads the dishwasher might not be the way a 4 loads the dishwasher. And dishes get cleaned both ways. They might get cleaned differently, and different dishes might get cleaned, but there's not like a supreme way. Sorry, guys, there's not. So it can feel like it's the rigidity can feel like there's no compromises when you're in a relationship with a 1. It can feel like it's always got to be their way, and they're always sitting so high and mighty in their ivory tower. Um, I just thought of Friends in Low Places, that old Garth Brooks song, right? It's kind of like um, being in a relationship with somebody who can do no wrong in their eyes. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I was coaching a 1 once, and I asked her when the last time she had judgment on people or was like looking down on people. And she told me it had been decades. That's not true. That's not true, right? These sins of the Enneagram, these are daily struggles for us. Now, you can make huge progress, and with your spiritual connection and your higher power, you can definitely learn to create new habits. But um, you, we never have the luxury of just slamming the door on our sin. In this case, for ones, it's anger, and just never experiencing it again. Like, it'll keep showing up, and every day you will keep getting stronger in the face of it, and that's how we overcome. So with this rigid rule following and moral framework, another problem can be it can feel like there's never time for fun or spontaneity. It can feel like everything is so over structured, and everything is, we have to do this, and we have to be here, and we have to, volunteer for this, and we have to make sure we get this done in this way. And it's like, well, when do we just get to relax and, let loose and let the kids scream and run around and, eat anything we want, have ice cream and laugh really loud and be goofy and silly. And sometimes with ones, and, again, remember, the reason they are not allowing others to do that is because they don't allow themselves to do that primarily. And so their framework is something like, well, I don't even do that, and my work is still not done, and your work is certainly not done. So no, there's no way we can just let loose. That can be the feeling. But of course, fun is a very important part of life and of relationships and of human behavior. So it's really frustrating for other types, or sad, to be in relationship with somebody who won't let us have fun and relax and play. And then finally, ones want things done their way. So it can be very hard for them to delegate things, and they can delegate certain household chores, or if your coworker is a 1, like, they can give you what they want you to do, but then you don't do it right, meaning you don't do it their way. So then they take it back. Well, never mind, I'll just do it because you're not capable of doing it my way. And so, because they believe they are the only ones who do the thing correctly, they will take back all of the tasks that they originally had delegated to try to give themselves a little bit more of a break. All right, ones, you can do this. Catch yourself in these habits, pivot in the moment, say a prayer, make a better decision, and live in serenity and peace. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, like, and subscribe.